These are the stories that keep me up at night. The missing, the murdered, the mysteries that have gone unsolved in our own backyards. I've covered crime in North Texas for more than 25 years, and now I'm opening up my reporter's notebook to you, revisiting cold cases and crimes that made headlines.
This person is dangerous.
Everybody's really concerned about it.
He's killed twice.
In the fall of 1996, fear gripped DFW because there was a serial killer who was also a rapist, and he was on the loose. His first victim was a 26-year-old elementary school teacher named Christine Vu. 3 months later, on Christmas Eve, he struck again, killing a teacher's aide named Wendy Prescott. Both of the women were neighbors at the Pear Tree Apartments in Arlington.
Both were strangled within 3 months and left in a little water in the bathtubs of their apartments.
He was dubbed the bathtub killer because he would tie up his victims with duct tape, rape them, and then strangle them and left them in their bathtubs. He went on to rape 4 other women, including a UTA student, a Dallas police officer, and a woman named Adrienne Fields.
For quite some time, I had been afraid. I'd been feeling like somebody was following me. I'd been feeling like somebody was watching me.
Adrienne was his last victim, and she survived. For years, I tried to find her because I really wanted to tell her story of survival. 19 years later, I was giving a speech. She was the speaker right before me. We connected, and she agreed to talk.
When I seen it on TV, I just had this just crazy feeling.
Adrienne's story is chilling. She lived in Arlington, but she was worried she was going to be a victim, so she moved to Grand Prairie.
It was like something clicked, and I just had a strong feeling that I was next. I couldn't shake it.
On October the 26th, 1999, at 3 o'clock in the morning, her worst nightmare became a reality.
I wake up because I hear this swishing sound, swish, 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 swish.
The pants he was wearing were like parachute-type pants, so they were making that weird noise. She said she laid in her bed praying that there was no one in her apartment.
And as I turn over, he takes off running towards me and jumps up on my bed, grabs my mouth. I'm screaming at this point, and he's telling me to be quiet and don't scream. And if you scream, I'm gonna kill you. If you don't scream, I'm not gonna kill you.
She said she started crying and then praying, and he still raped her for 2 hours.
He's like, stop crying, and I'm like, are you gonna kill me? And he just looks at me for a while, like he's thinking about it. And then he says, no.
And she asked him why he did it. He said, the devil made me do it.
The devil kept making him do it. And I was like, oh my God, you've done this before.
She says she didn't know him, but he knew her. He knew her name. Later on, she learned that he was a bouncer at a nightclub that she frequented. It was right across from Six Flags in Arlington.
When you walked in the club, like before you went in, you'd have to give him your driver's license. He'd look at it to see your age.
After he walked out that door, she says she lived in fear every day of her life that he would come back.
His presence was so strong.
She didn't have any peace until September of 2000 when she got a phone call from police.
They called and said, we got him.
His name was Dale Chanette. He was married and he was a father. He was caught burglarizing a building in DeSoto, and when they took his fingerprints, they realized that one of those prints matched a fingerprint at Wendy Prescott's apartment. DNA linked him to other crimes, and he was eventually arrested at his home in Arlington.
Last night, of course, we executed a search warrant on the home, and we spent about 2 hours out there, found some things that look promising that we feel like will help us with the case.
Adrienne didn't see Chanette again until she saw him at trial. He was found guilty of capital murder in January of 2003. He was executed on February 10th, 2009. It was adrienne's Adrienne's birthday.
It's like God would say to me, on the day that I gave you life, I took his life.
Adrienne now has a charity called Rip the Bandage, and she helps women who are victims of sexual assault. She hopes to help others overcome their fears by learning to live in peace despite what may have happened to them.
Rebecca has decades of experience reporting these stories in North Texas. And if you have a story you want her to cover, email rlopez@wfaa.com.